Hello and welcome to the Footy with Fletch podcast. This is episode 14, the first episode in 2021. Today we've got Dale Tapping, the assistant coach at the Brisbane Lions. He is their midfield coach, but focuses on their stoppages, their contest work and their transition. So hello, Dale. Thank you for joining me today.
Good day, Fletch. How are you, mate? Going well?
I'm very well, thanks. So which VFL football team or which football team did you grow up supporting while you were a kid?
Growing up in the northern suburbs, mate, it'd be in the northern suburbs, be Collingwood.
Collingwood, one of the big four clubs in the AFL. That definitely is great. Who would have been one of your idols?
There was many. Obviously, the ones that come to front of mind it'd be Dacos and Mullane, sort of through, watching them in that era. Probably my favourite was probably the best player I've seen individually was Phil Carman. So he was very erratic, but at the same time very brilliant. And saw him kick 11 goals one day down at Moorabbin against St Kilda. Kicked 6 goals something in the last quarter. Was pretty rare to see some of the things he did, but he was an outstanding player.
You were also able to go on and be the coach of the Collingwood VFL team. What was that experience like for you?
It was great. Look, spent 5 years at Collingwood from 2012 to the end of 2016. It was a great experience. Had a year as a development coach. Then obviously, I was promoted into that role in 2013. So did that for 4 years. Yeah, great experience, great exposure, really good time.
Yeah, it definitely is a great competition. What do you like to do in your spare time away from being an assistant coach at the Brisbane Lions?
Oh, I've got 2 kids, and they're at a stage now where they're pretty active with their sport. So son Mason's 12, and anything from cricket to footy to basketball, anything really goes. He's just pretty active, and same with my daughter, who's into cross section of sports, and she particularly loves playing footy, but into athletics and hockey. Just come back from a swim camp, so. Yeah, they keep you fairly busy, but you try to find time just to relax and just have a bit of time to yourself, which can be rare. It's the kids keep you busy and they're good fun. They're at a stage now where they're good fun to be around. They're actually they don't take life too serious, and they're always looking to poke a bit of crap at the old man, so which is good.
Yeah, definitely is great that you do have a family, which could be your escape bubble. Do you have any pre-game coaching superstitions or routines?
I wouldn't say I'm not superstitious as such. I'll probably routine. Look, I'm fairly active, sort of fitness-wise. So I'll get up and have a run or go to the gym, depending if we're travelling or not. If we're home in Brisbane, it might be a run. Or if I'm away, it wasn't so much last year, but you'll find yourself doing something pre-game. So whether a run or gym, just have a coffee and just try to relax. But I'm not superstitious about anything. Like I like to get to the games. If we've got a deadline to be at the game, I generally get there sort of half an hour before. But that's just part of my routine, really.
Who would have been the greatest player or the greatest players that you would have coached at the Brisbane Lions?
Obviously, probably the most recent one, or still is the most recent one off the back end of last year, would be Lachie Neale, clearly. Winning the Brownlow and it's been great to have an association with him and a good relationship with him and coaching him. It's been we've got a good working relationship and a good relationship off the field. So he's a pleasure to work with, and for any young players out there, like, he really drives the standards. So it's not, in a lot of ways, like, I'm sort of guiding him in certain directions. It's not it's not coaching as such. He's pretty self-sufficient. He knows his strengths and weaknesses and where he needs to be and what he needs to do. So it's really just sort of helping him along that path. Who else would be? Dane Beams in recent times was a very good player. Had experience with him at Collingwood, and at his best was a very good player. Harris Andrews obviously clearly is the best is still yet to come. McCluggage, Berry, these guys. I think Zach Bailey's going to be an excellent player. So they're a couple of boys that, particularly at the Brisbane, the Brisbane team that come to mind.
You definitely are very fortunate to work with such a great group of players, but especially the 2020 Brownlow medalist in Lachie Neale. So Lachie Neale is a fantastic footballer. How are the young Brisbane Lions midfielders tracking ahead of 2021?
Oh, I think so. Look, we've just resumed training again. Like, tomorrow we'll complete our third week back. So, the pre-season's pretty condensed, which is not a bad thing. It potentially could be the new norm. So, and his toughness, big Oscar McInerney's sort of continued to really grow and develop as a player. He's been fantastic. Who else? Steph Martin, who's been traded to the Bulldogs. He'll be sort of sorely missed, but and we've got a couple of younger boys like Tom Joyce, Eli Smith, Deb Robinson. They're going to be really pushing really hard. Jackson Pryor, just to name a few. Them boys are really starting to progress and develop physically.
You definitely do have a great group of players to work with. How have you found your time at the Brisbane Lions, and what is the culture like around the club?
My time's been really enjoyable. Obviously arrived at the club at sort of the end of 16, going into 17 season, and it's fair to say the club was at rock bottom. So really, in essence, it could only go one way, and that was up. So to be part of that from the get-go has been a great experience, and it's partly the reason for going there, to be part of a program and build a program, and obviously going in with Fags. I've sort of learned a lot about him around the ability particularly to build a culture. Like, he's a terrific man manager and really trusts his employees and his coaches to do their job. Culturally, I think I've worked really hard on the dynamic of the football club, not just the players, but like the connection between everyone that works in the whole building, really upstairs and downstairs, and just that constant interaction. So I think culturally, we're in a really sound place, and we've got some, we've got sort of pretty high standards, and now I suppose expectations of performance. So to see that develop to a point now where we're not satisfied with maybe how things were, at the start of 17. We've sort of grown a lot in terms of how we see ourselves and how we coach and how we review our performance. Like, we're demanding, high performance and keep everyone accountable, not only the players but also the coaches. So, culturally, it's a really good fit, and certainly learned a lot about developing a strong high performance culture, and it generally comes down to your people. It's how you manage those people and trust those people to do their work.
So how did you and the midfield group review and move on from the difficult preliminary final loss to Geelong in 2020? And how do you move on to making a grand final in the future?
Oh, I think, like, really, for us, like in isolation, it was disappointing because anytime you get a game away from the grand final, it doesn't matter who you are, and you lose, you're going to be disappointed. So, for us, we've been in the last 4 years, we've been around just continually find ways to improve. So, we've looked at the game really strongly. Both not only from midfield perspective, but from a whole team, and obviously, with myself, looking after the midfield, there's certainly things that we need to do better against a midfield like Geelong, which we didn't do as well as we did, say, the game before against Richmond. There's some really good learning out of it. Like we've reviewed that pretty strongly, and we've sort of taken those learnings with us. So right now, as we're into our third week of pre-season, there's already things that we're working on that we've taken out of that game and taken out of our season. And it's a lot of it's around marginal gain. It's we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have. We need to be a little bit, show a little bit of innovation, but it doesn't have to be by a great margin. It just has to be marginal. And a lot of it's around just a little, and a lot of it too is around another year of being physically mature. Like if you look at both Geelong and Richmond, both physically and mature footy teams, and I think for Brisbane we're still progressing through that. Like as I said before, like for example, Barry McCluggage 5 years in now. They're starting to get into that sort of sweet spot in their careers. So physically, they're continuing to improve. So I think, and you look at Geelong and even their team that they're going to run out with this year, like very, very mature team. They haven't got, their average age is probably going to be 26, 27. And they're going to be very mature. Probably average games are going to be close to 100, if not more. That'll be more than anyone in the competition. But it's very hard to play against, and sometimes you just need to keep building towards that. But we're not far away. We'll just keep sort of working away at what we need to do. I think the way we play has allowed us to get into finals positions the last 2 years now. So we'll just continue to chip away at it and keep promoting continual improvement mindset, and I'm sure we'll get better.
It will definitely be interesting to see how you go in season 2021. Are you a fan of the return of the 20-minute seasons in 2021?
I am, Fletcher. I'm a bit of a traditionalist, mate. So I don't like them, sort of changing the rules as much as they do. Like just let the game evolve. It generally sorts itself out. I think when we do make decisions on rules, I think you need to know put yourself in the player's shoes. They're under enough pressure physically and mentally, and the demands of the game, and sort of throwing just rule changes consistently. It's hard work for the players. So I think it's we'll coach through it, and the players will adapt like they always do, and they're phenomenal really how they adapt. But a little bit of a traditionalist at heart. Like just would like to see the game sort of just left alone a little bit, and it generally sorts itself out. But anyway, it is what it is, and you just play to the rules that are being governed.
Yeah, definitely would be great for the AFL to sort of settle down on their continuous rule changes. How do you think the Brisbane Lions will go in 2021? Do you think you could ultimately win a premiership?
Oh, I think we're clearly the last 2 years we've won more games than any team in the competition the last 2 years. Like we've won 31 games of footy. The next best was Richmond with 28. So I think we've proven as a football team now that we're more than capable to compete. Having won the most games in the last 2 years, clearly you're one of the better teams in the competition. So I think we just got to continually believe in what we're doing, which we have for the last 4 years. It's been it's been a steady building process. So we'll continue to keep looking at ways to improve our footy and improve our team, and there might be some adjustments, but I think there's some belief around the football club that we could compete with any team in the competition. So I think when you get to that point, well, you give yourself some sort of a chance. But we're all on the starting line again now, so it all starts afresh. So the first things first, we've got to win enough games to qualify, and then you build from there. But look, we're a top 4 team the last 2 years. So you got to trust your process and trust how you play.
Yeah, definitely will be interesting to see how you go. Who do you think would have had the greatest influence on your coaching career to date?
Oh, like a few. I think all the coaches. Even when I was playing and even working, in the AFL the last 10 years or so, I think all the coaches have an influence on you, and some more than others. I think you learn off everyone. But a couple to the front of mind, like when I was playing, I think Greg Hutchison was real influence to me when I was playing at Paran. He was a very good coach, sort of coaches for about 6 years, and in reflection, looking back, he was probably a little bit ahead of the curve. He ended up being a caretaker coach at Melbourne for a period, so sort of proved his worth as a coach. He certainly had an influence on me and how I think, and just the way he prepared for games. And I think his philosophy stood the test of time. Nathan Buckley was terrific to work for. Learned a lot about the game, and his football intellect is as high as anyone. And obviously in recent times, like obviously Fags, and particularly in terms of managing a football team and a club and individuals within it, in terms of man management and setting a platform for success, has been really, really great experience to be part of, and see how he goes about his business. And he's very inclusive, and always asks your thoughts and opinions. So he really trusts his lieutenants, so to speak, and values their input. And he may not always agree, but I think one of the great qualities he's got is he's prepared to listen. They're just to name a couple. But I think all coaches have an influence in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, they definitely are some great people who have had an influence on your career. Do you see yourself ultimately one day being a senior coach of an AFL team?
It's certainly something I've thought about, Fletch, the last couple of years. Like now, obviously at Brisbane, like this coming into my 5th year at Brisbane now, and certainly when I arrived there at the end of 16, 17, I was really looking forward to the role that I was going to participate in at that time. But obviously now at Brisbane now, sort of grown into a couple of different roles and different responsibilities. So you're starting to get a look at other sides of the business, and I've always been pretty passionate about the coaching side of it, and have had experience coaching my own teams at TAC Cup and at VFL level. So, particularly the last couple of years, I've sort of thought a lot more deeply about it. You'd certainly, if the opportunity come along, you'd certainly no doubt have a crack at it. As difficult the job is, but I think you've just got to, you've got to trust yourself and trust what you do and how you go about, your own philosophies and how you apply that to the people, not only your staff, but to your playing group. So, it's certainly something that I can consider if that opportunity come along, for sure.
Definitely would be an exciting prospect for you. So, of course, with David Noble now moving out of the Brisbane Lions to be the coach at North Melbourne, what do you think about the fact that how was it to work with David Noble?
Yeah, look, really good. Like he, actually, not many people would know this, but I played footy with David back in Paran when he came across from Fitzroy for a couple of seasons. So we go back a fair way in the 90s, so early 90s. He was like a general manager of football. Was certainly different. You are managing the football program and the coaches, but you also, your role is generally managing up and managing down. So you're across all parts of the business. So he wasn't out in the ground a lot. He'd sort of watch training from the boundary and obviously observe and be in the coach's box game day. But in terms of hands-on coaching, he didn't do a lot. But at the same time, he's had great experience in the management side of it. So not unlike Chris when he come into the job at Brisbane. So I'm sure he'll make a good fist of coaching North Melbourne.
Definitely will be a great challenge for him. Thank you very much for your time today on the Footy with Fletch podcast, Dale. It was great to talk to you.
No, pleasure, Fletch, and good luck, mate, and I hope you have a great year.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you for listening to episode 14 of the Footy with Fletch podcast with Dale Tapping. Thank you very much to Dale for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to me. It was a great honour and a great privilege, and we got some great insight in your role at the Brisbane Lions Football Club. So thank you to everyone again for listening, and I'll be back very soon with the next episode of the Footy with Fletch podcast. Bye for now, stay safe and stay healthy.